Tomorrow, the soulless, banal trumpets from the legacy media will remind us that the election day will be visited upon us once again. And just like wind-up toys, we will march in unison as willful drones to the polling stations, giving us an illusion of free democracy by voting for a competent candidate to lead us into a brighter future. But nothing can be further than the truth. We instead are witnessing what was long ago endeared for us: total and complete destruction of the fabric of our society. Through corporate and ultra-linear institutionalized power, the class warfare will widen exponentially as the time ingresses on. As we tear into each other like the lost and decrepit damned souls in Dante Alighieri's Inferno, a wailing of gnashing of teeth against our fellow man with unabated viciousness that have been witnessed around the world while committing ultra-national suicide of our basic decency. In the months and weeks of this farce of an election, we have become a nation of bleak and dark stale chaffs of wheat, crumbling under a white, slight whiff of breath. As the institutionalized monoliths escape from our judgment, and in most cases, ignored completely, the horrifying world in which we have created for ourselves is encapsulated succinctly in Thomas Ligotti's resoundingly bleak but hard novel, The Conspiracy Against the Human Race, in which he states in a single glaring quote, "If the truth is what you seek, then the examined life will only take you on a long ride to the limits of solitude and leave you by the side of the road with your truth and nothing else." So, as the morrow comes, our reminder that the left are nothing more than an extension of the right, and vice versa. However, as droning zombies, we are led to believe that they are different. They are corporate monarchs who serve at the behest of the lobbyists, while you, the mere insignificant human pulp, tenderize yourselves at the polling stations and promote violence on each other, whom deserve nothing more than the crumbs they regretfully lend you like children after a hard day's labor, for which you are gleeful and accepting of. One horrifying reality is that has been since knocking on the crypt of humanity since the age of the 20th century are the disparity of those who are rich and those who are poor. The middle class, dwindling since the Roosevelt administration, expedited to the bottom 98% by the NAFTA Act under Clinton, which saw our corporate industries flee overseas to escape paying for affordable health care and unions by paying minimum wage to a third world population it takes full advantage of. But how did this transpire? To understand this, we must understand corporate lobbyists. Lobbyists patiently cultivate networks of powerful people over many years, trying to build trust and maintain confidence and friendship over those years. They understand strategy and have excellent communication skills, and many are well suited to be able to choose which clients they would like to represent. Now, this country has many lobbyists, but there are 5 powerful lobbies that are most pronounced. 1 are the foreign lobbies: Israel, Saudi Arabia, or the Gulf. 2, the pharmaceutical, spending $4.45 billion over the past 22 years. Companies like Johnson & Johnson, Pfizer. 3, fossil fuel, ExxonMobil, Chevron Corporation, ConocoPhillips. 4. Finance, insurance, and real estate, companies like JP Morgan Chase, Citibank, Morgan Stanley, Bank of America. 5. Defense, companies like LG3 Technologies, General Dynamics, Raytheon, and BAE Systems. The economic regress we are witnessing has been a decades-long incremental degradation that has been generally ignored due to our total ignorance by having the public concentrate on cheap, transparent forms of entertainment and focusing on matters that have been told by our elected officials which have no value on our lives. With another meaningless election at our hour's hand, we are left wondering the topics of discussion that weren't brought up by either official when it came down to the debates, such as the topics involving the human community in general. According to the Housing and Urban Development's annual homeless assessment report as of 2018, 553,000 people reported homeless. That is 0.17% of the population. The Census Bureau found that 38.1 million people in 2018 were classified as poor, which is $25,465 per family household with 2 children. A new Pew Research Center survey finds that overall, 1 in 4 adults have had trouble paying their bills since the coronavirus outbreak started. A third have dipped into their savings or retirement accounts to make ends meet. About 1 in 6 have borrowed money from friends or family or have gotten food from a food bank. According to the Prison Policy Initiative, in 2020, the American criminal justice system holds almost 2.3 million people in 1,833 state prisons, 110 federal prisons, 1,772 juvenile correction facilities. We imprison more than 89 countries have in total populations. According to Statia Research Department, there have been 1.2 million total number of violent crimes, with 897 people killed by police, and since 2015, 5,747 people total. That is almost double than the amount of people killed in the attacks of September 11, 2001. With the implementation of the war on drugs under then-President Ronald Reagan, incarceration rates have tripled since, a war that has no end in sight, and similarly to that of the war on terror, in which there also seems to be no end in sight, and one in which both conflicts are also perpetuated by the intelligence apparatuses in convoluting the conflict exasperated by the CIA. What have we become? To quote Chris Hedges, quote, "We now live in a nation where doctors destroy health, lawyers destroy justice, universities destroy knowledge, governments destroy freedom, the press destroys information, religions destroy morals, and our banks destroy the economy." End quote. The overall national budget is spent on the Pentagon and corporate lobbyists and foreign aid, while we stand idly by watching Kim Kardashian, Justin Bieber, the Yankees, and of course the repetitive, unidealistic poison called reality TV, in which we jovially exclude our rational cognitive mindset to become blank slates without any true independent creative thinking. We are being reminded of the mantra, keep quiet, consume, and die. Meanwhile, We have lost our neighbor at the long and narrow doorstep that continues to extend like the walls which we seek for seclusion and give us the apparition of security, while we rape and tear through the ground and air as if we are scratching an open wound, seeking relief from a pain which we have created in our own mind, while profiting off the plundering of our earth's natural resources. While the earth cries for relief from our neglectful torment, our corporate oligarchs, with the lifeless eyes like dolls and without remorse, continue to manufacture inescapable punishments which irreversibly poison the very ground and sky we live on. How dare we weep for ourselves when we cannot hold contempt even for our fellow man outside of our menial transparent borders? To include ourselves in their lives is to ruefully intrude on a community which we allowed ourselves to believe are potential terrorists at hand. Meanwhile, our elected and foreign officials lead us to believe that they are nothing more than isolated third world nations meant for pillaging and plundering under the might of our American armed forces, manipulated to believe it's a right under democracy to kill and marginalize, while our citizenry, like a chorus of zombified stupors, chant meaningless declarations such as defend the troops. A truly decomposed society bereft of a single shred of moral aptitude, which we are. Damn ourselves for allowing it to erode our moral compass. The looming and irreversible death of our nation is being ignored by a mass hysteria-led public that is fixated by a manufactured inward sterilization of our inner spirit, in which our independent state of mind has been systematically ethered by unnatural human constructs made to divide us from ourselves, instead of focusing on the elements who shaped us this way. So as you reap, you will sow. Our fate will be sealed and unchanged if we cannot fathom a last stand. An awakening of the true independent mind that resists human borders of the constructs made for us, and to envision a world without financial burden. If not, we will witness a reality forthcoming, in which William Butler Yeats' nefariously dark poem will stand true, the second coming. Turning and turning in the widening gyre, the falcon cannot hear the falconer. Things fall apart, the center cannot hold. Mere anarchy is loosed upon the world. The blood-dimmed tide is loosed and everywhere. The ceremony of innocence is drowned. The best lack all conviction, while the worst are full of passionate intensity. Surely some revelation is at hand. Surely the second coming is at hand. The second coming. Hardly are those words out, when a vast image of spiritus mundi troubles my sight. Somewhere in the sands of the desert, a shape with lion body and the head of a man. A gaze blank and pitiless as the sun is moving its slow thighs, while all about it, real shadows of the indignant desert birds. The darkness drops again. But now I know that 20 centuries of stony sleep were vexed to nightmare by a rocking cradle. And what rough beast, its hour come round at last, slouches toward Bethlehem to be born?